Millions of people spent the months leading up to December 2012 preparing for a global cataclysm, convinced that an ancient society had predicted the end of days. The entire panic grew from a single sentence in a 1960s archaeology textbook. Modern pop culture hijacked a poetic observation, stripping it of context to create a profitable doomsday narrative. The Maya tracked time through the long count calendar, a system divided into massive blocks of nearly 400 years called baktuns. This diagram shows how the long count functioned like a cosmic odometer. To the Maya, the end of a cycle signaled renewal. When the 13th baktun ended in 2012, the dial simply clicked to zero, and a new era began. Our fascination with a fictional disaster blinded us to the actual physical history left behind in the jungle. The Maya did experience an apocalypse, but it was a historical crisis that occurred between the 8th and 9th centuries in the southern lowlands. Sprawling metropolises like Tikal and Copan, which once housed tens of thousands of people, underwent a rapid and total depopulation. Royal histories ceased mid-sentence. Construction crews walked away from massive projects, leaving half-carved blocks scattered across the quarries. A profound silence fell over these once booming urban centers as the surrounding forest reclaimed the empty plazas. If this empire didn't fall to a mystical prophecy, what earthly force caused its beating heart to stop? At its peak, the classic Maya landscape supported a massive, crowded population of up to 11 million people. To maintain their authority, divine kings engaged in an architectural arms race, building increasingly massive stone monuments to display their power. These kings required their stone pyramids to be coated in a blindingly white limestone plaster, creating a gleaming city landscape. The math of this process was brutal. Producing the fuel needed to cook the plaster for just 1 square meter of pyramid surface required burning 20 trees. To maintain their aesthetic of power, the Maya aggressively clear-cut the rainforest, transforming a lush environment into a scorched, eroded landscape. The ruling elite's demand for monumental displays destroyed the very ecosystem that allowed their society to function. A deep forest canopy is essential for local weather. Its roots hold moisture, and its leaves cycle water back into the atmosphere. As the forests vanished, the regional climate altered, and the seasonal rains failed to return. Scientists have recovered the geological record of this collapse from within Mexican cave systems. These submerged stalagmites grow in microscopic chemical layers that act as a flawless weather record. This chemical fingerprint reveals a century of relentless megadroughts, including one brutal dry spell that lasted for 13 uninterrupted years. This evidence confirms that the collapse was a slow, excruciating death spiral triggered by human-driven environmental change. The drought turned urban reservoirs into cracked mud and caused maize crops to wither in the fields. The divine kings, who claimed the power to summon rain, failed to fulfill their cosmic bargain, and their authority began to crumble. As resources disappeared, the highly ritualized skirmishes of the past escalated into vicious, total war between starving city-states. Archaeological sites from this era showed desperate defensive walls hastily thrown up around previously open palaces, alongside mass graves marked by signs of violence. Political systems and religious authority shatter when a civilization outstrips its underlying natural resources. This history debunks the idea that the Maya people mysteriously vanished into thin air. The common people made a rational choice to survive. They turned their backs on the failed kings and walked away from the stone cities. They migrated north to the Yucatan Peninsula, where they drew life from underground sinkholes called cenotes. They reinvented their society, building new cities like Chichen Itza and shifting from inland farming to vast coastal trade networks. Today, over 7 million Maya people live in Central America, maintaining native languages and traditions that outlived the empires of the past. The Maya survived because they were willing to fundamentally adapt their way of life to a new reality. The abandoned cities of the Maya record a history that humanity's ultimate survival depends not on the rigid monuments we build, but on our willingness to adapt when our existing systems fail.